Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 1, DJI in 2026 and beyond. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy New Year's to everybody. Hope everybody had great holidays. Thank you guys for watching the replay with Rick. I know you guys enjoyed that. Let's see who all is in here tonight. We got a full crew as we start up here. Drone Shots, Jody, Sergeant Rock, Johnny Drone Flyer. Let's see who else we got. Drone Angles, RJ Redding, George Kelly, Lauren is here, John Flynn is here. Welcome, John. Carlos, John Rocker, Art is here. Who else we got in the house? Gator Drone is here. Eyes in the Sky Drones is here. Okay. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody had a great holiday. We did. Well, back up a little bit. You guys probably know we were up in Ohio, and the second day there that night, I got sick. I had a horrible cough, and I had to go to a standalone ER and get cough medicine. And then we made the decision because our granddaughters both of them had just been really sick, and and my son-in-law and daughter had been sick as well, too. I said, you know what? We're going home. We don't want to get you guys sick. So we missed our youngest granddaughter's third birthday party. Yeah. But at least we did get to spend a couple of days with them before we got back. So, trade-offs. But we were healthy for Christmas this year, which was a real blessing. And we got to spend it with Valerie's daughter, Jessica, and her husband, who I dearly love, both of them. We had such a wonderful time. We went out, we celebrate one of the traditions we've had. We go out to eat Christmas Day. There are some places open. We did that and just absolutely had a great meal and a great time and a lot of fun, very enjoyable. And we did what we did for the last 15 years for New Year's Eve. We stayed home and did nothing. Okay. That was the sum total of it, and that's those are the best for us. I mean, my gosh, going out, partying, all that kind of stuff. What was that? Okay. Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, seriously, it's just not there anymore. Just not there. Well, seriously, I hope you guys had a great time and enjoyed spending time with family and loved ones. I mean, that's what the season's all about, and sharing that love with each other. That's what we want. So we've got a good lineup to talk about tonight. Actually got some things, believe it or not, to talk about. Ron's going to be joining me here in a little bit. And of course, at the top of the hour, we're going to be having Steeler Nation. It's a playoff Steeler Nation tonight. Okay. By the skin of their teeth. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. And I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun about that. So, but anyway, we're going to kind of get started here. And one of the first articles, sorry about that. Still getting over this cough. Okay. DJI entered support for a couple of kind of legendary items here, and want to take some time and go over that. I mean, DJI end of an era, DJI dropping support for Mavic Mini drone, Osmo Pocket. So, why it was such a big deal? It was the first mini drone. It really was. It set the gold standard for mini drones out there. Of course, whatever DJI does, they do it well, and they did that well. And it really, really, really had a great hit. Support for the original DJI Mavic Mini will end on April 1st, 2026, and the DJI Osmo Pocket on February 5th, 2026. Okay, so there's still a little bit more time for each one of those. You can take a look and see right here. And it's talking about the Osmo Pocket's legacy. It really kind of set the gold standard for that as well, too. So, it's most people have moved on from those, which is fine. But, that doesn't mean, and this is something that I always kind of really want to emphasize with people, that doesn't mean, I got to just, deep six it and it's gone. The product's gone. No, it's far from gone. So, you can still use it, enjoy it. You're just not going to get firmware updates. That's all that is. And if you need to get it repaired, you probably need to go to a private place to do that. And you probably know by now where you live. If you've gotten them repaired before, you know where to go for things like that. There are some places locally that I know of here that will repair things like that. So, those are your best bets for something like that. So, but obviously they have improved since then. So, if you're still flying it, if you're still using the original Pocket, God bless you guys. I think that's absolutely positively fantastic here. So, and then there was another article out here today that I wanted to go over. I know so many of you are, and as I get started on this article here, when we were up in Columbus that Friday, which was the day that we ended up leaving, it was 20 degrees outside. The wind was about gusting from 25 to 30 miles an hour. The wind chill was, I believe, -8 outside. It was every bit of -8. It was bitterly cold. It was so windy. We both had winter coats on. It moved both of our hoods up and over our heads. Okay. And you know what? We were gonna stop and get a bite to eat. I felt good enough to do that. I said, you know what? Let's just get to the airport. And I did. I didn't even get gas. I was supposed to get gas in the rental. Don't tell my rental car company. But they were so nice they didn't ding me for it. So we got to the airport like about 4 or 5 hours early. We sat across from a real nice restaurant in the Columbus area that they have inside the airport, Donato's, if you're familiar with that. Hey, Captain Ray Kelly, welcome. No, I'm going to be talking about that here in a little bit, John. And we chilled out for about 4 or 5 hours till our flight. And we got back a little later than we wanted to, but we got home and, we had a couple days to R&R and I needed that. And I got some cough medicine and got it going and just got things squared away. It was just, yeah, before Monday hit. So I can not make. No. The Fly app is not going to stop working. It's just support for those two items, the Pocket One and the original DJI Mini drone. They're not going to have any more firmware updates for that. So no, the Fly app is absolutely fine. Just want to let you know that. Okay. So again, winter flying tips every DJI drone pilot should know, and a lot of these make a lot of sense. Battery management, cold is the enemy, and it is. The idea really literally, I know a lot of guys will keep them in their pockets, and have extra gloves or something around them and trying to keep them warm, or keep them in the car, swap them out in the car in the vehicle. That's an option as well. If you're going to leave your vehicle running, if you need to do that, the key here is to keep them as warm as long as possible before you put them in the drone, because as it says, cold is really the enemy, and it's going to sap that energy out of the batteries really, really, really fast. Okay. Environmental assessment. Snow isn't just snow. Winter conditions aren't limited to cold air. Rain, snow, fog, haze, and even cloud layers dramatically increase the risk. Visibility drops, moisture builds, and propellers can ice over faster than many pilots expect. Okay. Propeller icing is one of the most dangerous winter hazards. Typically occurs in low temperatures combined with high humidity. Think snow flurries, foggy mornings, or flying through clouds. As propellers spin at high speeds, moisture freezes instantly on their surface. The ice changes the propeller shape, reducing efficiency and increasing motor load. Prolonged overload can trigger warnings, cause uncontrolled descent, or even damage motors permanently. So, if you see an overload warning, land immediately. That's just one of these things. And you really kind of, again, you need to pay attention to the conditions that you're in. I mean, a lot of those times, those are not conditions to fly in at all. Flight control tips, smooth winds in winter. Solution, fly gently. Smooth stick inputs are especially important on lighter drones like the Mini 4 Pro, when more powerful platforms like the Mavic 4 Pro benefit from controlled, deliberate movement in winter air. Proper device storage, what you do after flying matters. After each flight, wipe them down with a soft, dry cloth to remove snow or moisture, prevents ice or liquid from entering internal compartments and help avoid corrosion or short circuits. For long-term storage, batteries should be kept at around 65% charge. And something. Finally, store your drone in a cool, drying environment. And one of the other tips I want to add to something like that is, after you bring your drones in, it does talk about drying them off, and maybe using a can of compressed air. Leave them out, okay? Leave them out fully extended to dry. Also take the props off. Again, give them ample time to dry. Just, don't rush to store them and put them away. In fact, I would probably leave them out and extended overnight would probably be something along those lines. That's something I would highly recommend. So, all right. That's a good eyes in the sky. That's real good. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, that's a good question here. I just got a Mini 4K and hoping for new features. How often do they release new firmware? Any chance they drop the SDK for it? Okay. Really, that kind of depends. Number one, they'll usually put something out if there's some fixes that need to be made, number one. And number two, I think for the Mini 4K, I think it's probably, as far as the feature sets are concerned, it probably has what it's going to have right now. I don't think they're probably going to add too much more to it. The software development kit, I don't know if, I don't believe there is anything out for that right now. I don't think so. DJI does not do it on all of their product line. You may want to do some research on that. If somebody knows if there's an SDK for the Mini 4K, drop that in the chat. But from what I believe, I don't think there is, just to let you know that from what I know. But as far as new features are concerned, it's probably at its feature set right now. They may do some tinkering to add a few things on here and there, but I think it's where it's at because, with a drone like that, it's very limited in terms of the updates that could be made to it because of the memory size and so forth. So, okay. And here's Mr. Ron Brown. How are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you today?
I am extremely excited for Steeler Nation tonight.
Oh boy, it's going to be the best one of the year.
Extremely excited. We're going to playoff edition. The playoff edition of Steeler Nation tonight.
Division championship edition.
Absolutely. So, just going over, just getting ready to throw up an article here, and this is real interesting, Ron. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, but apparently there's no new drone rules in the UK. Introduces class marks and remote ID for drones, and it's really, from what they're saying, it's going to affect everybody out there. It's going to be a new drone class marking system. And it's going to be different for different drones out there. UKO and UK1 drones can fly over people and under certain conditions. UK2 drones fly near people with extra safety training. Higher class like UK3 are for heavier or more advanced drones with stricter limits. And there's a table down here. And again, you guys could read this at your leisure. Remote ID, digital identification in the sky. Sounds very similar to what we have as far as that's concerned. But this is coming to them. And where and when you can fly A1 over people, A2 near people, A3 far from people. So coming soon to a drone near you in the UK, Ron.
And Bill, this wasn't unexpected. They've been talking about this, the Europeans, for a while now. So this is nothing unexpected.
Well, and I hate to say this, God bless our brothers and sisters overseas in UK and Canada and everywhere. But, God forbid that some of these countries start copying what the garbage that we just pulled. I mean, just, yeah.
Yeah, I hope they don't get Brendan Carr to help them with any of their rules.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him in CES in a minute here, but wow.
Yeah.
Just kind of amazed at that. Okay. Really kind of want to spend the rest of the show here, and we really want to talk about. I know. I'm trying to bring that article.
Oh, did you touch on the Avata 360 yet?
That's what I'm going to bring up here. So that's what I want to talk about right now is the Avata 360.
We could let Brendan Carr hang for a while.
Yeah, we can let that happen. DJI Avata 360 price leak, cheap in China, emotional damage in the US. And they talked about the pricing is revealed as Chinese and they did their translation to what US pricing would be.
Yes.
And the base drone only, 2988 CNY, which is about 426 US dollars. Drone plus charger, no controller, perfect for FPV tinkers who enjoy living slightly on the edge. Standard combo with DJI RC2, which would be about 569 US dollars. Fly More combo, which would be about $811 US. Extra batteries, props, charging hub, bag, and the comforting illusion of savings at roughly 20%. And DJI Care Refresh starts at $398, which is about $57. US pricing estimates, prepare your wallet emotionally. Here's a realistic expectation. The China equivalent 426, estimated US price is 489. That's for the base drone. For the standard combo, China equivalent 569, estimated US price 680. For the Fly More combo, China equivalent 811, estimated US price 999. Okay. Is it worth it? And they're kind of saying, yeah, of course it is worth it, because it's something that, it's DJI number one. It's going to have 360. It's really going to set kind of a benchmark as far as that's concerned. And Drone XL's take is the leak confirms one thing clearly: the Avata 360 is not vaporware, not delayed, and not stuck behind regulatory doors. It's real, it's priced, and it's coming. Yes, the US markup stings. $999 is a psychological gut punch, but DJI is better than that immersive 360 FPV. It's compelling enough that buyers will swallow hard and click add to cart anyway. History suggests DJI is probably right. So that's where the nutshell of that is, Ron. And I want to say this, okay? The first thing that grabbed me from this article, and I don't know if it hit you or not too, most of these are going to be available over either in China or in South Korea, and some in Japan, okay? So the prices the Chinese prices that you see there, the conversion of that is probably closer to what we're going to pay than a U.S. price, because I think the U.S. price is if it got listed out on Amazon, okay, which I don't think we're going to see. All right, I think it's going to be, we're going to have to visit our South Korean and Chinese friends and be able to purchase drones from them. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I don't expect to see this on Amazon, because we know the Uyghur Act hasn't been lifted yet, so I don't expect to see it from U.S. Well, when I say I don't expect it on Amazon, I don't expect on Amazon from Amazon or DJI selling it. Eventually, third-party sellers are having it on Amazon, but I don't expect it from normal channels in the U.S. We will have to go through our eBay friends. And Bill, what I'm impressed is, we're getting close, because we not only do we get prices, but we still got package leaks of whatever. So we're getting close. And I did see, I think, a picture today of Avata 360 in a retail box. So, the pricing, the box, and then when we get those specs, how we usually get right before it comes out, we get the specs, and the specs are usually 95% there, whatever. So we're getting real close to the three key ingredients signaling the releases, any week now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be imminent. And quite frankly, right now at this point, Ron, I'm really kind of surprised that it hasn't released yet, because, being that the U.S. really isn't a player in this at all, and why they haven't released this yet. I mean, we're already well into the new year. It's almost a full week into the new year, and we haven't really seen anything. Now, I went out today just for grins and giggles to Jasper and to Igor, and they haven't done anything for like at least a couple of weeks out there.
Bill, they have been slow. I wouldn't expect them to release it during CES, because CES is kind of taking all the, what do you call it, the oxygen out of the air during this event. So I wouldn't expect it to come this week, because they're not part of CES. So I don't think they want to go up against that. But Bill, what I think is a real good point here for how this drone perform is, we had no idea. We thought this was going to be a FPV drone or whatever. How about the fact that 3 of the 4 kits did not even include goggles or motion controller? It's standard. The standard controller for this drone seems to be the RC3 or whatever, or RC Ed 2. So it's not really, you'll be able, if you don't care anything about FPV, you still will be able to get this drone to fly. So to me, that's a big selling point over its rival, the anti-gravity A1, which kind of takes anybody that doesn't want FPV out of the equation. And one more thought to give you, Bill, before you give your thoughts. how about, okay, if these prices are correct, and this is just leaks and rumors, folks, this isn't set in stone. If the flybar combo with the 3 batteries and all that is $9.99, and the A1 flybar combo anti-gravity is $19.99 or whatever, that's not going to be good for anti-gravity, is it, Bill?
It's kind of a no-brainer, Ron. It really is, because, you know, with anti-gravity, you know, they put on a good show and everything, but, you know, when DJI comes out of the box, all right, it's very rare there's a serious problem when they come out with a drone, okay? So, you know, I mean, even swallowing hard and paying that $9.99 and for what you get for all that, my gosh, I mean, that's you know, it's really a gold mine of what you're getting in comparing it to the Insta360 anti-gravity. I mean, it's like apples and oranges in terms of pricing right there.
And how about the one kit? How about the base kit? Just getting the drone and one battery, so you could just bring your own controller to the thing at N3, R2, whatever. You know, motion controller. You just bring your own equipment. That's under $500, Bill. That's you know, in this day and age or whatever. I mean, the drone's going to cost less than a 360 camera would.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let me show you guys. Let me show you all something here. And if I can find it real quick. Okay.
Bill's got some Amazon boxes back there, folks.
Got some Amazon boxes back there, but this came in the mail from South Korea. It's a Neo 2 drone only. Okay.
Drone only, okay.
With a battery. All right.
Wow.
I ended up buying the transmission module that you attach to the back.
Right.
So I got that. So this is number one right here. Number two, I mean, and I saw this on Amazon and I said, yeah, this is the drone only, okay, with a battery. That's it, okay.
Okay.
And I said, you know what, this is going to be a great backup, because, you know, I'm still projecting, Ron, that going forward here with all this, and we'll get to this in a minute, okay. I want to be prepared if, you know, my first one goes out, that I have one to back it up, because again, we have no idea how long all this shenanigans are going to last, okay. So I want to be prepared as far as that's concerned. So that's why I went ahead out and did it. And the price was right on the Neo 2 that I got out there. I got it for like a little over $299 plus shipping. And on the Mini 5 Pro, I got it for $757. Again, that's only the controller, the battery, and the drone. That's it. Okay, nothing else. Which I think is a great deal. I mean, you know, I'm thrilled to be able to have that and to have these as backups. I mean, that just to me, it made a lot of sense to do something like that. So, I was going to say, we're going to stay tuned. My guess is probably the week after CES is over, we'll probably start hearing some strong rumblings about the Avata 360 coming out. So I would say we'll probably, I would say probably stay tuned for that. So,
hey, Bill, before we get too far away from this topic, but I'm going to talk about the anti-gravity A1 for just a second. I had the pleasure of going to Ken Heron's Boardwalk meetup the day after Christmas, and Drone Rob and Ken had the anti-gravity A1. They were not sent to Drone. They stopped at Best Buy and bought it with their Drone Rob bought it with his own money, right? And I did not get to fly the drone because they only bought the one battery package, so I didn't get quick enough in line. But I did get to hold the drone. I did get to hold the controller, and they do seem to be of DJI quality as far as the build quality of both the drone and the controller. Now, if you watch my little video, you know, Ken took a couple of shots at the drone in the video. So, I mean, this is definitely not a sponsored video. It wasn't the most impressive he's ever been with the drone. You know, but the drone, when those guys flew it, the drone seemed to fly well. Nobody seemed to have any control issues with it. And Ken did fly kind of under the music here and still had a signal. So, I mean, I hear all these signal issues on it, but I mean, not that Ken didn't do anywhere near a range test, but he did fly and get underneath something, which you think may have caused some hiccups to the transmission. I don't think he had any.
Ron, I've had it out at least 4 times, and I've not had any transmission issues with it.
This is the anti-gravity I'm talking about.
Oh, the anti-gravity. Okay. Gotcha.
Anti-gravity, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I'm still very skeptical of it, and I really haven't gone out there to take a look at a lot of some of the other things. So that's kind of like I'm kind of like leaving that alone for right now, seeing how
Like I
that's
said,
going to play out.
even Ken and them didn't seem to have the best first impression of the A1. But Ken did put a video up he shot at Minefield where he did show the beauty of it, where you could look at if he put it up in 360, so you could hold your like iPad or your phone up, and you could move your iPad around in space like this, Bill, and you could see it from any angle, which was kind of cool to look at.
Well, one of the things in conjunction,
the DJI product will have the same capability.
Exactly. Okay. One of the other things I saw, which was really interesting, and I read through this today, were the Mini 5 Pro prop guards. Okay. And Sean from Air Photography, great video on that. Great article out there. If you get a chance, watch Sean's video. He does a great job. In and of themselves, I mean, I think this was a home run. And one of the most unique things I think you'll find out about these are the propellers are inside the prop guards. Okay. So when you have to take your props off to put your prop guards on. Okay. Which is a little different. And it's a click system and it's color coded. So you know which one to do. So that is pretty straightforward as far as that.
And you can see right in that picture there where they click over the top of the arm there in place. Like
right
that.
Here.
You see the big plastic piece, you're right there. Yep.
Right there. Yep. And the other thing is, let's see if okay. There's a picture of it right there. All right. So when you take them off and you stack them together, they're magnetic, so they'll hold together. So that's another nice feature. And they're about $40 or $50, which is real nice. I actually ordered some today from a seller out in China, so I could have some. Now
it looks like if you get them shipped from overseas, it looks like between 50 and 60 be the final cost.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, the one thing in the quick release system, he says it works really well. And that's what it looks like with it on there. Okay. Now, the big thing here he talks about are firmware restrictions. Okay. Right. So when you go out and you fly it, okay, it really kind of slows things down. I think that's the best way to kind of describe that, Ron. I think everything is brought down. Your expectations are down. You
can still go 120 meters high, but your distance is I forget the meters you said, but it's way restricted. How far
your maximum distance with prop guards 500 meters. Maximum height is 120, which is about the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Maximum speed sport mode 9 meters per second. Tested in moderate wind. Versus 19 meters per second with the standard. And then battery return to home trigger is at 44%, okay, remaining, which he even thought that's kind of high as far as that's concerned. I kind of think that's a little high too, but I think they're trying to be very cautious with this because it really changes. And this is something I think a lot of people, I wish he was, he did touch on it, but I think he should have spent some more time on it, was how it really kind of changes the flight dynamics of this, okay? Because it doesn't fly like a drone without prop guards, okay? You have prop guards on here, so it's going to fly different. It's going to handle different. You're not going to have the maneuverability that you have for that. Now, use case scenarios, there's a lot of great use case scenarios. He said for Sean said for himself, he's going to do it when he's doing like an active track and he's in a wooded area. And there's a lot of trees and other things as well to help prevent any accidents as far as that's concerned. So that does make some sense. He also said, number one, if you fly indoors, that's absolutely perfect. And the other thing that he brought up with that too, Ron, which is really good because, realtors are always looking for another way to film inside houses. This would enable that to happen in a very safe way. And I know the only way I'll ever fly a drone and be able to live to tell about it again is if I get prop cars like this. So, that's another
but I think you're onto something there. I think, these are designed, I think by DJI for indoor flying or whatever. And that's why they have trouble outdoors is because they're not designed indoors. There is no wind, right? And you don't have to worry. And distance is no problem indoors because how far are you going to fly indoors? So these are designed to fly indoors, and they probably fly well indoors. But as soon as you take them outside in any type of wind, or if you take them to any height, like if I'm flying outdoors with prop guards, I'm flying like 10 feet or under or whatever. I'm keeping it real low or whatever. I think expectations of you getting these prop guards and flying 400 feet and 5 miles out, I mean, that's just not, realistic or whatever.
Right. And you need to set, and that's a good point, Ron. You need to set your expectations when you're using these prop guards. Okay. You're not going to have a normal flight with this. Okay. You really kind of need to throw that out the window. Okay. You're not going to fly like I fly up to the fountain and go in and get zoom shots or go out to the highway. You're not going to have flights like that. This is different. This is a specific purpose and a use case. And one of the other ones he said, if I didn't mention it already, is for a brand new flyer, somebody who's brand new to drones. It slows everything down for them. It gives them time to react to things. It keeps it in a very, manageable type of distance as far as being away from you. And it has that 44% battery return to home. So all in all, as far as that's concerned, I think that's a home run, especially for brand new users. And like I said, he brought up the use case of doing like an active track with that in a wooded area, which makes a lot of sense, or flying through an area with a lot of brush and trees and things like that. Or, you're flying inside the house, doing realtor shoots with a great camera that the Mini 5 Pro has on it. Okay, that's going to really be a real selling point to realtors as far as that's concerned. And then also for first-time flyers. So there's a lot of use cases for this, Ron. And for 40 or 50 bucks, I mean, that's a great price for something like that.
Especially getting the props with it too, that adds more value.
Exactly. Okay. And from what I read, the weight was negligible, I think, from his article.
Of course, the drone, these drones, we knew most of them weighed over 250 grams anyways. So you were probably already over 250 grams even before you bought these things. So with these props, you will have to be registered and whatever.
Exactly.
And broadcast remote ID.
Exactly. We're at the point now, we're going to talk about DJI in 2026 and beyond. And the first article that I want to bring up about that, I did have that up here. Let's see here. Okay, the first article I want to bring up, I thought I had it. Okay. All right, yeah. Here's the article here. Okay, DJI 2025, drones, cameras in a year that changed everything, all right? And, we really kind of know everything that went on. The regulatory reality hanging over 2025, the backup to all this matters, all right? Under U.S. law, security review of DJI's technology was required, but never formally initiated, which we do know. Without a complete review, DJI faced the prospect of being added to the FCC's covered list, which we knew had related. With that in mind, DJI's approach to 2025 starts to make sense. Approvals still mattered. Certification still moved. And waiting offered no advantage. How Tough Year still delivered the standout drones, the Flip, that we got, the Osmo Mobile 7 series, the RS4 Mini, the Mavic 4 Pro, Osmo 360, the Mic 3, and there's a firmware update for the Mic 3, by the way, Mini 5 Pro, the Osmo Nano, Osmo Mobile 8, Neo 2, Osmo Action 6. And then, we have to look forward to, because they're already approved by the FCC, the Avata 360 and the Pocket 4. So those are on their way and those are coming. So
Bill, quick thing before you get off here. Have you ever seen this before where they, in 1 year, DJI released the Osmo 7 Pro, and in the same year they released the Osmo 8?
Yeah.
I've never seen upgrade to a product in the same year the other one came out.
The double release of the same model, yeah, that's never happened before. Okay, well, I think, and they were smart, Ron. Okay, I have to give them a lot of credit, because they cranked out a lot of product in a short amount of time. And I know you were in retail. For a company to do something like that, it takes a incredible team effort from all the way from your R&D to marketing to your engineering to assembly and manufacture and getting the product out. It takes a combined effort to do that. And there's a lot of kudos that goes out to DJI, because they kind of were under the gun, because they figured the more that they could get out, Ron, the better it's going to be for, customers in the United States, because we'll still be able to purchase and use those products, all right? Because we're not restricted from using them, and we still have two to look forward to, even though we're on the covered list. Those other, the Avata 360 and the Pocket 4 have already been approved. So,
and Bill, if it wasn't for the Uyghur thing, which is the total bunk, we would still be able to buy these products on the DJI website and have them sent to our house.
Absolutely, yeah. So
and get our care refreshed. It's all because of Stefanik and her Uyghur Act.
Well,
do you know of one other product in the history of China or mankind that is not being sold because of the Uyghur Act? I think the Uyghur Act one company.
Never, Ron. If anybody would have said anything, you would have thought, oh, Apple would have been restricted because of the iPhones, okay? Because they're using forced labor to build iPhones or something like that. There's nothing about that, but here we are, facing reality as far as that's concerned. So, I wish I had an answer for that, Ron. I really kind of don't. All right.
Bill, before you move off that list you showed earlier, how about the surprising thing that the Mavic 5 was on the list that got FCC approval?
The Mavic 5?
The Mavic 5 was on that list of things that got FCC approval before the deadline.
Okay, maybe that was in the article here. Hang on. Was that mentioned in this article? Because I went through it and
it's that article kind of had some like a yellow background to it.
Okay, let me bring that up again here.
John Rocker said that Apple gave the government a lot of money. Yeah, that's not the same article. It's an article that's newer than this that has all the items that got FCC approval before the deadline. And all things, the Mavic 5 was on it. The other stuff's obvious stuff we already know, like the Avata 360 and some of
the Pocket 4, yeah. Well, that's fantastic news, Ron.
On there. That doesn't mean it's true, Bill. But it was on that list.
It's on that list. So yeah, that's really a good thing here. Now, one of the other things, and I think people don't really realize this because obviously we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about this because we're not agricultural type drone users here. Okay. FCC foreign drone ban could hit U.S. farmers where it hurts most. Okay. And this article talks about on paper that sounds tiring on the ground, especially on American farms. It's anything but. FCC made clear that drones already authorized and sold in the United States are not affected. Farmers can keep flying what they already own, but no new DJI agricultural drones, imports, upgrades coming through official channels. That matters because DJI is not a niche player in agriculture. It is the market, okay? There's nobody else out there that does that. Farmers depend on DJI not because they want to, but because it works. And the article talks about and gets into some things here as far as that's concerned. Security concerns are real, but so are empty fields. I think what's going to happen with this, Ron, as I read through this article, I think this is going to be ripe for an exemption here, okay? Because there's really nothing in here, okay, that really speaks to, number one, to a security issue and concern. And number two, okay, this is our food supply. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what would it matter if the Chinese spied on a cornfield?
Exactly. Okay. Or how many cornfields we have in the state of Iowa, or how many
soybean fields are around.
Soybeans we have in New Jersey. I mean, seriously here, folks, let's get a grip as far as that's concerned. But I think they'll make an exemption for this because it directly affects our food supply. Okay.
Yeah, and what that means once this DJI equipment, the current equipment ages out and they can't replace it. You know what that means for consumers? Higher prices, and our food prices are already sky high. We can't afford to go even higher.
Oh yeah, you go to the grocery store today; it's still ridiculous in terms of what you pay for things, especially things that are produced via farms. Okay, which is where this is. Plus, on top of that, now what will happen is they'll have to go back to crop dusters, and doing it, and they're so imprecise. These are precise. They don't overspray. They hit exactly what they're supposed to. We can't go backwards, in terms of agriculture. We need to move forwards. And believe it or not, a lot of product we sell over to China. Okay. We sell a lot of soybean and some of the other things that they don't grow over there. All right. To China. So I have to think that there's going to be some kind of compromise here in terms of, okay, we'll allow these agricultural drones here and we'll allow them into the United States because, again, there is no competition. Okay. There's nobody else that's making agricultural drones, period. End of story. I mean,
Bill, I hope the farm sector of this country has better representation in the government than the drone flyers have.
Yeah. And I got to think because of that, Ron, I really got to think that what's going to happen here is they're going to get an exemption for this. Okay.
Hey, that's stuff in the chat going on there. Michael Wright's at CES right now.
Yeah. I did see a picture of him with Bob Dempsey and I think Tom out at CES. Yeah.
Mike's checking out all the new drones at CES for us, Bill.
Yeah. And there's no DJI. You know what, Ron? If there's no DJI products out there as far as drones are concerned, why go? I mean, I know Bob and Tom.
Either.
I know Bob and Tom live there, and I know Michael. God
bless him. It was always his dream to go to CES, and Mike's in all sorts of tech, not just drones.
Right. He's out there for other than just that, which is fine. For Tom and for Bob, they live out there, so that's kind of a natural. It's a no-brainer for them. But for the rest of us, I like alternate tech, but I'm not going to fly out to Vegas just to see alternate tech. Okay. As far as that's concerned.
Yeah. Bill, if you get sick flying to Ohio, just think if you walked around CS for a couple of days, you'd come home in an ambulance. Probably.
It was brutal. I mean, it was absolutely brutal being out in Ohio and going out there.
All the germs that are, you probably got something to play and all the germs in at CS. Stay healthy, Mike.
Exactly here. So this is an article I want to spend a few minutes on. And our good friend, okay. Well, another one of our public enemies here, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, takes victory lap at CES, a stage where DJI built America's drone culture. Okay. What does he get? Who is the keynote speaker at CES? It is Brendan Carr. Okay. This is like, okay, wow. I mean, talk about a gut punch. Okay. We had a gut punch the day before on December 22nd when they made the ruling, and now we get another gut punch. He's going to come out and kind of rub it in all our faces. All right.
When's the last time the head of the FCC ever spoke at CES? I'm guessing zero before today.
I'm guessing 0 too, Ron. I was going to look that up. I was going to do a chat GPT and look that up. I didn't have a chance to do that. But yeah, I mean, this is rubbing, as they say, the old saying, rubbing salt in a wound. Okay. I mean, why? Okay. Take your victory lap, have a big old time, and let's move on with it. All right. It's ridiculous. We're gonna live with this and with your decision here, which we vehemently disagree with. We're gonna live with it forever, how long we have to. But you know what? Don't throw it back in our faces. Okay. DJI did everything that they could and then some. We did everything we could as far as petitioning our congressmen and senators and elected officials. But what do we got? We got crickets. That's what we got back.
Some people say it was a rigged game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can, when a game's rigged, you know what? That's something that you can tell when games are rigged because one side's getting called for penalties all the time and the other one's maybe has one or two the whole game. All right. And you can see it. And something like, with the way sports betting goes on, Ron, that happens. Okay. There's no question about something like that. But this article here, and Koopy, to answer your question, Fireside Chat with FCC Brendan Carr. It's on Thursday, January 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific time out in CES. Interviewer is Gary Shapiro, CEO of Consumer Technology Association, who is the chairman of CES. First major public forum for Carr since the December 22nd foreign drone ban. Okay. The stage where DJI built America's drone culture, it was out at CES. Okay. The interviewer's conflict of interest. Gary Shapiro runs CTA, the organization that produces CES. His organization, starting in 2024, the company is on the Commerce Department's entity list. Now he's interviewing the regulator who just banned the future products from sale. Okay. This is just, Ron, I just can't believe this. This is really rubbing it back in your face here kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, unleash American drone dominance. Okay.
Oh, I guess that's what he's pushing. He's pushing all these American drones. But how many American drones are at CES?
Exactly. Exactly. The problem, these domestic alternatives don't exist at consumer price points. The Blue UAS approved drones cost 3 to 5 times more than DJI equivalents and deliver a fraction of the capability. Skydio, the company that lobbied hardest against DJI, doesn't even make agricultural drones, recreational drones, or most of the products that made DJI essential to American pilots. The questions that won't be asked, okay? Will existing DJI drones be allowed to receive firmware updates? What happens to warning service and replacement parts? What is the actual process for requesting a DoD DHS exemption? Will the FCC exercise its retroactive revocation authority? Why was DJI banned by default instead of after the audit they requested? What's the timeline for American drone dominance to produce affordable alternatives? Okay. DJI agrees to audits. It wasn't enough. And it talks about the history of what the ban actually did. Okay. Existing drones with FCC authorization remain legal to sell and fly. Your current DJI fleet isn't grounded, but the FCC granted itself retroactive revocation authority in October. The power hasn't been exercised yet. The stated justification includes event security for the 2026 World Cup and 2028 Olympics. CES context, it talks more about that here. And then Drone XL's take, and I'll let you guys pontificate on that on your own. But Ron, it's just mind-boggling to me here, okay? This is like, okay, let's say, I don't know, I'll bring it back in football terms, all right? Let's say you've just lost to the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, okay? And Tom Brady here, okay? And this is like Tom Brady coming back and saying, see, I told you all week we were going to kick your carcass, okay? And we did, all right? Sticking his tongue out at him. If the fans or whatever.
Or I'll give you a better example. Say, you've lost to Tom Brady Super Bowl, and then back in your city, whatever, they're hosting like some kind of an event for the team, and Brady's the keynote speaker, and he just beat you in the Super Bowl, and they invite him as a keynote speaker.
Yep. Exactly.
Dr. Joseph, it's the second weekend in April this year because of Easter being the first weekend. So it's the weekend after. I believe that date is April 10th. I don't know if the 10th is Friday or Saturday, but it's that weekend, not the Easter weekend.
Yeah, there's a weekend. And Joseph, that's a great question. Just to let everybody know, it's the second weekend in April now, not the first because of Easter. Ray was planned accordingly and made sure about that. So
you're welcome. You're welcome, Dr. Joseph.
Michael, you know what? Maybe we might have you on when you're available to talk about that. I think that would be really good.
We gotta get Mike on here. In fact, Bill, maybe Mike, hopefully Mike can come on next week because I'll tell you after the show, I probably won't be able to make it next week. I have a medical thing going on. I'll tell you after the show.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, wow. That's pretty incredible as far as that's concerned here.
Johnny Dronefly, I say the 10th through the 12th of April for the meetup. So 10th is like the Friday. Yeah.
Expect Department of Defense release
American drone companies use Chinese parts and batteries.
Well, you're probably right, Michael. Yeah. I mean, that really, I mean, they're not going to fly without those, okay? And they're going to give a free pass to that. And then, DJI is going to say, well, wait a minute. What's the deal here? Because you're allowing these drone companies to use Chinese parts, but yet you said you weren't going to allow companies to use Chinese parts. What's the deal here? As far as that's concerned. And Ron, throughout all this, okay, this is the one thing that keeps coming back to me. And even Valerie mentioned this to me. All right. What about, okay, there is every day I think about this. There is no other country on earth, okay, who is currently banning DJI drones, okay, for security concerns. Nobody, not one, okay? Not one country on this earth that's doing this. We're the only one that's out there, all right? And, it just screams the whole thing,
Yeah, and Bill, I got another one. Somebody came up with this, and I read this someplace. Okay, let's assume a couple of years down the road these American drones show up, right? What's to prevent a bad actor from going in Best Buy, buying an American drone and flying over a sports stadium or spying on something, whatever? If a bad actor's a bad actor, he's going to fly whatever tools available. So how's the American drone going to keep the bad actor
exactly
any more law-abiding than the Chinese drone?
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing, Ron. Okay, it became painfully obvious this year as the months dragged on. Okay, that the federal government was just going to wash their hands of it. Okay, it's like when there's that term for when a president doesn't sign a bill and it sits there long enough, it becomes law. I forget what that is. Okay, like Congress passes it and then he just lets it sit there. And if it sits there long enough, there's a term for it that I don't really remember at this time. It ends up becoming law. That's exactly what it was in this case. Okay, they just washed their hands of it, and they said, well, the way they wrote that law was, okay, if nobody does an audit by the end of the year, then they're automatically on the blacklist. And see, here's the thing. Okay, what they can say is, well, the Department of Defense didn't say anything, and Department of Homeland Security didn't say anything, and National Security didn't say anything, and the CIA didn't say anything. So you can't blame any of us. That's how they're going to approach something like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, that it all goes back to the Congress and people wrote this bill. Bill, like I was saying, it's your job. If they hand out a job somebody didn't really want to do and didn't give anybody the assignment or whatever, nobody's going to do it, right? Okay, like first, it's your job. If they say, if the boss says somebody's got to go clean the bathrooms up, but he doesn't say who, he just says somebody's got to do it or whatever, well, nobody's going to do it then, right? You have to assign a job to somebody.
Exactly. So, this is to be continued. But one of the other things, and I know I saw our friend Casey Crime Fighter, he kind of echoed earlier in some of the comments about going out and buying some extra, because he has some prop incidents. So he went out and he ordered some other additional accessories. And, thank you for posting that, my friend. I appreciate that. And I seriously want to be, Paul Revere and say the British are coming. Go out there, get those batteries, get those props. If you can afford a backup drone, do that as well too. And the reason that I'm going to say that is time's going to go on. You're going to find something that's going to happen. All right. You're going to see those prices steadily climb out on eBay. All right. To the point they're going to be double what they are right now, because parts will start to become scarce as far for us. Okay. They'll still produce them. We'll still be able to get them. But what's going to happen is these sellers out on eBay are going to raise their prices because they're going to make that money. And for us, we don't have a choice. We're going to have to go out there and buy it. So if you want to get them at a reasonable rate right now, go out there and buy these things now. Have them, okay? I produced a video that showed everything that I got, and people said, what? You're crazy for doing that. No, you know what? I'd be crazy that 3 or 4 years from now, if I need a new battery, if I need props, I'm not going to pay $100 for a pair of props, and 3 or 4 years from now, pay $500 for a $150 battery. Okay. I'm being smart about that. So do yourself a favor if you can afford it. Okay. So I know some of you can't. So don't shoot the messenger here. What I'm saying is, if you can afford it and go out there, get your props, get your batteries, get a spare drone only if you can do these things. Okay. I'm trying to be a harbinger of the truth and let you guys know what's going on here. That's all I'm doing. That's all we're doing here. Ron, I think it's about that time. Okay. So
it is. Yeah.
I'm feeling the need for speed here. Okay.
Oh, man.
I'm feeling the need for speed. Now,
I watched one of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time Sunday night.
Ron, I have to agree that game, I don't think I've seen a more exciting game easily in the last 10 years. Okay. Across, the NFL. Really. The lead changes, the back and forth, swapping out and everything as far as that's concerned.
Now,
but I got to start off with this.
It wasn't all good. There's a lot of misplays in there, whatever, a lot of questionable decisions.
Well, the first thing I want to start out with, and I know probably a lot of you probably saw a clip, was before the game, a priest from one of the Catholic churches in the city of Pittsburgh got out holy water and went across that end zone where the kick was missed. Okay. But if you guys have ever watched, and I don't know, Ron, if you've ever watched them, it's called Pittsburgh Dad, DAD. Okay. go out and type Pittsburgh dad and watch the latest clip. It's a parody on being a dad in the city of Pittsburgh. And the guy's actually a Pittsburgher, okay? And you know what he said? This was funny. He says, pre-sprinkling holy water. He says, nah, it wasn't holy water. We got something better than that. Had water from the Log Jammer, okay? Now, the Log Jammer was a ride at an amusement park in the city of Pittsburgh, okay? That's long since been torn down. He says, we can't buy the water on eBay anymore, so it's really rare. So, yeah, that's what did that, okay? It was just this whole parody on things. It was absolutely hilarious. But, Ron, the thing that got me was, okay, those 2 touchdown passes that Lamar Jackson had of 50 or plus more yards, right? That's an NFL record, by the way, number one. And number 2, they're both the Flowers, okay? There was nobody. They showed from the replay from the back of the end zone as you watch. There was nobody within 20 yards of him. Nobody.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give Pittsburgh a break on the first one. Somewhat the Pittsburgh secondary. The defensive linemen are going after Jackson should have got him down. Jackson made a miraculous escape, and the defense let up because everybody in the stadium thought he was sacked. So I kind of give him a little bit of a break there. But the second TD, what was that coverage? There was nobody. I understand that the play was fake to the right. Everybody was running right, and the receiver ran to the left. But still, to have nobody, or is that the play where they showed a guy tripped or something? Anyhow, it's just a bad play, and it wasn't like it was some dumb receiver. It was the main guy you should have been watching.
Yeah, it wasn't this guy. He's already had a touchdown. Do you think you're gonna not cover him? What's the deal on that? But one of the plays that just really blew my mind, Ron. Okay, it was 4th and goal. All right, time is ready to expire in the first half. That play that they called. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to say this. That was the dumbest play in the world that you can call like that on that, Ron. That's going to get stopped 100 times out of 100, all right? It's too slow to develop. It doesn't work, okay?
And the Ravens had more people on that side of the field than Pittsburgh did. I mean, you're asking some guy to make a highlight reel run to get in there because he's got to outrun two tacklers in a short field. They were, you said, it was slow developing. So before he knew it, 2 guys were almost on top of him. But even beyond that play, why in the world the score is 10-3 at that point, right? It's not like you're out of the game. It's not like Baltimore's unstoppable. Baltimore had a good first quarter and then didn't do anything in the second quarter. But why don't you kick the field goal there? Why did you even go to the fourth and one? You weren't way behind. You didn't need to start scoring every play.
Exactly, Ron.
The field goal, and guess what? You almost lost that game because we only won a game because the Baltimore kicker missed. Well, if he would have kicked the field goal there, it wouldn't have came down to all that.
Exactly. Okay. And you know what Chuck Noll said, Ron? He said you never, ever pass up an opportunity to put points on the board.
And they grabbed Tomlin going in the locker room, and he didn't even want to acknowledge it. He kept saying, "Well, we made the right decision there, whatever."
What a load of manure that was. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was beside myself, okay, because I'm like, you kick the field goal. It's a no-brainer, okay?
I mean, if he was down 21-3 or something like that, if he was a couple touchdowns behind, I'll give him a break. But he was down 10-3 on a team that hadn't scored.
Exactly.
I mean, the Ravens got those 2 scores, the touchdown and field. They got him like at the very beginning of the first quarter, and they hadn't done anything for like an hour at that point.
Exactly.
With the offense. So you take those 3 and you don't run that crazy stupid play or whatever. And like they said, maybe if you had Metcalf, then you do that one thing where you throw it high in the end zone and let him go up and get it. But you didn't have Metcalf or whatever.
You didn't have Metcalf, so you were constrained by that. The only other thing I saw somebody on a forum said what Rodgers could have done would have been a bootleg to that side, but yet maybe have him motor all the way to the other end, to the end zone, because like you said, that side was stacked up. They knew we were going to run over there. They knew. The Steelers telegraphed that play. They knew that was going to happen.
I mean, the Steelers they faked like they were going to the right, but Baltimore is smart enough to know that that was the ploy or whatever. They were actually going to try to go to the weak side or whatever, and they had more guys over there than Pittsburgh had blockers. First of all, they weren't that far away. Why don't they do that play where they bring Hayward in and have him do the tush push? Both Haywards or whatever.
It was like on the 1 yard line. I don't get it, Ron.
Or if you were going to go to that strong, you should have gone on the strong side, just swept the ball and give it to Gainwell or something, and let him. Hopefully, he bashes it in.
Yeah. Oh, it was just.
Oh, wait, who they throw the ball? The play that did work. Who did they throw the ball to that got stopped? Was that Gainwell or?
Yeah, it was Gainwell.
Yeah. But I mean, at least if you're going to give the Gainwell, give him a shot. Let him go with all the big people in front of him blocking.
The big guys out in front of him, and he didn't have anybody. It was just, I saw that. You know what, Ron? As soon as the play started, I knew we weren't going to be in the end zone.
I mean, if they wanted that play to work, they should have grabbed Tony Dorsett from the 70s and let him run the play.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay. The other thing is this, okay? All right. And so many people ragged on Aaron Rodgers, okay? He's washed. He's 42 years old. Blah, 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 all that stuff.
He got better. He got better as the year went along somehow.
Those 2 touchdown passes he had in the fourth quarter were just magnificent, okay?
Yeah,
the timing he had, especially on that one with Austin, the one that was actually the winning score, all right?
Yeah.
His timing on that was just perfect. The ball he threw, it was almost a perfect spiral, Ron. And the man's 42 years old. Good grief.
Yeah.
It was a thing of beauty. And then here we have a kicker. He hasn't missed an extra point in 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
4 years. He hasn't missed an extra point. No brainer. What's he do? He misses the extra point.
I think they said it was only the second extra point he's ever missed in his career.
Yep.
And it wasn't even close. He just really shanked it.
Oh yeah. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You absolutely.
The only thing I'm going to get on Aaron Rodgers about is, and maybe I'm wrong on this, in one of the drives in the fourth quarter, Aaron Rodgers having trouble with his helmet.
Yeah.
He called 2 consecutive times out and ate all Pittsburgh's timeouts up with that helmet thing. I mean, why didn't he just call the play himself rather than blow 2 times? I mean, luckily it didn't hurt him because their last drive it was a work of art. They didn't need any timeouts. They got down there, but if they would, that could have came back to bite him. And he basically threw 2 timeouts. I agree. The only thing I could say is, I know Aaron's a veteran. He knows the play call, but I think the problem is, and I thought about this. I wonder if the problem was that he could call the play, but what if he didn't have the right personnel in the field for that play? So he could only call a play that personnel in the field set, where he had the head thing on. They could send in, the additional linemen or receivers or backs or whatever. That's the only thing I could think of. But Aaron should just at the game. He should just kept call plays that the personnel in the field would have, or just call one, get the clock stopped, and then let him look at the helmet.
Exactly. Okay. And, and I got to say this too. All right. This is something, okay. And I'm going to harp on the equipment staff for the Steelers here. Okay. This is something during a pregame check that you need to make sure that both his primary helmet and his backup helmet both are working without exception. All right. Because you don't want to have something like this happen in a game where they have to burn 2 of their timeouts. I mean, it could have cost them the game, Ron. It really could have.
And ultimately, who's in charge of everything that happens on that sideline? Ultimately, who does it go back to? Not Aaron Rodgers,
Mr. Goatee,
right?
Man, okay, Mr. Goatee, right there.
Yeah,
and he thumped. You see him? He thumped his chest.
I saw him at the game. I watched, even though he was thumping his chest. I should have said you should have been praying at that, because that guy missed the kick, not thumping your chest or whatever. You got lucky that a rookie blew a 40-yard field goal.
And I'm going to say this. Well, one couple points was, I saw it was a great picture. Chris Boswell went over to the kicker's name, Lupus, I think his name, went over and consoled him after that, which I thought was really a class act for him doing that. Okay, number one. Number two here, all right, and I'm going to say this, much to the dismay of everybody, and as much as I enjoyed them winning, okay, it came through the back door, guys, okay? This wasn't, we're going to, they last 5 minutes, they run out the clock, all that kind of stuff. No, okay? It was a nail biter, agreed, and we could have gone the other way in a heartbeat. Loops makes that kick, we're sitting here lamenting the fact that we've gone home early, okay? But instead, we have our first home playoff game in like 6 years, all right?
Did you see what happened just a few hours ago? That game cost Jim Harbaugh his job. Jim Harbaugh was let go a couple hours ago.
I saw that. I saw that.
And I'm sure if he'd have won the game and gotten the playoffs, he'd still be working. So that game cost him his job. Now, before we even get and that shouldn't even come to that, Bill, that need that last minute heroics. What happened? And I don't want to harp back to bad things to talk about this long, but what happened a week before? They go to Cleveland. I know Cleveland's a dog pound, all that, but they went to Cleveland. They were a 3-win team that day, right? They were a 3-win team. I know they have a good defense. Now should try to play up their good defense. But they have a bunch, almost all their guys on offense are rookie. When the game started out, Cleveland had a running back out there. The announcer said he just got off the practice squad. He had never ever played a game for it. He was cut by San Diego, whatever. So that's the type of guys they're playing. They got guys starting against them who this is the first time I ever walked on an NFL football field or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And they let Cleveland jump up on 10-0 before you even knew it hit you. Cleveland's up 3-0. And Sanders, he threw that pass down to the tight end. I mean, he got lucky in the pass, but that tight end, that guy's almost a rookie of the year. That I forget the guy's name. Then he hurt his groin, didn't play the rest of the game. That was lucky for Pittsburgh, right? But it didn't matter anyways. They said
that
Rodgers,
game against Cleveland, Ron?
They blamed on Rodgers or the coach, but they said every time that Myles Garrett got near Rodgers would throw it to the ground or something like that or whatever because he didn't want the sack record to happen. Well, the fiddlesticks with the sack record. You're playing to win the ball game out there. So what, you get sacked a couple times. Maybe you get a TD off when you don't get sacked or whatever. But you get shut out. They did score 3 points, right? So you score 3 points because you're trying not to get sacked or whatever. Bill, did you feel the same way that was?
Yeah, that game plan was out the window, Ron. Okay, you could win the division by winning against a team that's only had 3 wins this year, okay?
And you're trying to avoid the sack record.
And you're trying to avoid a sack record. That's your primary game plan that day, all right? I was livid.
Plus, they let Cleveland jump all over them early or whatever. Like, Cleveland had all the momentum in the first quarter. In fact, did you hear, like, if you listen to TV, who let the dogs out was all over the stadium. They let the fans get all worked up. They were playing who let the dogs out. They let them work the stadium, get all the momentum because, I mean, I thought they were going to get blown out. I mean, luckily they shut Cleveland down, the rest of the game. But Cleveland just jumped all over. You're thinking Pittsburgh's the one that should be jumping all over him, not letting a rookie quarterback who didn't have his best player, the tight end, got hurt after that thing. He had his running back was out. He was playing with guys just came off the waiver wire. He has the worst set of receivers in the league out there catching the ball. I mean,
Oh, I know, Ron. There's a million reasons and they should have won that game.
Cleveland, they win that game and they win the last game over Cincinnati. So they finished strong. They win 2 games, then they fired the coach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. Okay. And I want to say this. I don't know if you heard this. There are really strong rumors that no matter what happens, okay, Tomlin is going to leave and he's going to take a TV analyst job. That's what the talk is right now.
Okay.
Not a head coaching position, but a TV analyst job. That's what people have been talking about. And I've seen it. There's really strong rumors about that happening here. But I'm going to say this, Ron. Okay. They are not playoff as much as I like them winning against Baltimore. Let's face facts here, okay? Baltimore's been on the decline for several years. They're kind of like parallel and mirroring our seasons. All right?
Well, I mean, they went all out. They got Derrick Henry and they signed Jackson, big contract, and they were a strong contender last year. I mean, they kind of got upset in the playoffs last year. They had a great regular season the year before.
Right. And this year it just in time, you could tell there were some veterans on the team. They've aged. Lamar Jackson isn't the Lamar Jackson.
Well, I mean, he's been hurt all year. I mean, he was the MVP last year, but he's hurt this year. But not only those throws to flies, but how about that beautiful pass he made to Isaiah Likely going across the middle to set up what should have been the winning field goal for
Oh
him.
yeah,
and likely was covered. That was a good. That wasn't bad defense. That was a good throw and a good catch.
That was a good throw, good catch, and it was good defense on that too. And like I said here, they were close to losing that game as they were to winning that game. All right, they got the Houston Texans coming up here, and who knows? Okay, because Houston's been one of these.
Yeah, well,
up and down teams this year.
It's in Pittsburgh, but somehow Houston's still like a 5-point favorite or something. Well, Houston, they're one of the better defensive teams in the league. So there's that. They are good on defense.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. It all depends on how the Steeler defense reacts to how Houston is playing. Okay, and then how Aaron Rodgers is going to react to their defense. I mean, these are unknown quantities.
He is a veteran quarterback, so that gives them kind of an advantage. Or maybe a young quarterback may get shooken up by that defense. But Rodgers, he's seen it all in his career. Nothing they're going to do in defense is going to be new to him.
Yeah, so it's a toss-up. It could go either way. I'm going to say the Steelers will win. It'll probably be by like a field goal if they do. Okay, but as I say that, okay, second round they are not going to advance further than they'll. Yeah. If they win the first round, they will not go beyond that.
And I don't think Houston doesn't have a lot of skating skill players. Not a lot of big playmakers over there. They kind of grind it out a little bit on offense.
Right. And historically the Steelers have always, believe it or not, like on Monday night, they have played really well. They've had a great Monday night football record. And
that game's on Prime. So anybody that's a Pittsburgh fan doesn't have Prime, you better order it before Monday night.
Yeah, and I have it, so I'll be able to get it. So,
and back to that last game, how about Cam Hayward, the veteran? He had one of his better games of the year Sunday.
That really surprised me, Ron, because they shuffle him in and out on a lot of plays because of his age. All right, he physically he can normally earlier in his career he would play every down. All right, but now come third or fourth, come second or third down, a lot of times they'll pull him out. All right. Because he's gassed and they substitute him. But he played a lot that game. But I'll tell you what, he played with passion and desire that game. I saw that from him. And then TJ Watt, okay? The man is coming back from having a collapsed lung, had surgery for it, all right? And he's saying the cold air really hurts him. And look at the game he had. I mean, He was all over the place. He got that incredible interception just from being at the right place at the right time. Kudos to him as well, too. And to Aaron Rodgers, let's call it like it is. Aaron Rodgers had an incredible game, all right?
Even another veteran, Thielen made a couple nice catches out there. I mean, nothing game-breaking, but he made a couple clutch third down catches.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So
here's something puzzles me on offense, though. They don't have their playmaker there with Metcalf, but it seems like their second best playmaker is Freierhoof. But like sometimes like he disappears or whatever. I don't know why. He can go up and make a play. He can go up and get a ball and make a play. But sometimes he disappears or whatever, especially without Metcalf out there. You need Fryer. I mean, I know the other tight ends are good too, but go two tight ends. Freierhoff should always be in the field when you're trying to make a big play.
Oh, I agree, Ron. I think it's the play calling, okay? I think it's Arthur Smith and his play calling. Pure and simple.
But I mean, it's getting the right people in the field as much too, whatever. I mean, you got to have your playmakers on the field at certain times. And I mean, I know the one tight end's hurt now, but that big 350-pound tight end, I mean, he's a good player, but he's not going to make any big plays for you. He's not going to make a game-winning big play for you, but Freierhoof can.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And that's what get in the end zone, go up high, pick a ball out of above a defensive back. I mean, they underutilize him for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm looking forward to it. I think they got a chance. Their home team, they got a chance, and I know what you're saying because the next round, I mean, you got Jacksonville is hot, you got Denver is hot. You got the Patriots that are hot, so there's a lot of hot teams in the AFC right now, and
there are
Buffalo's of course in there. So and that'll be on the road, right? No, they can't get a home field against any of those teams because they're
if any of those teams win, they're going to be on the road the rest of the playoffs if they survive past the first round. So and it's going to get ugly. I think what's going to happen is they'll probably win against Houston. They'll probably, with their luck, they'll probably draw Buffalo in Buffalo, okay? And it will be ugly. Okay. It will be as ugly as it was in the regular season. Okay. Buffalo will just run right over them.
I mean, Denver doesn't play this week because they're the top seed.
Right. They get a bye the first week.
Does Buffalo play Jacksonville?
I think so. I'm not sure who the Chargers play.
Yeah, and that would be interesting because Jacksonville is the hottest going to be, and Trey Lawrence has been on a real roll at quarterback for the.
He really has.
Guys,
really has.
Yeah. Well, so let's worry about this week first instead of those other teams.
Well, first things first, we'll get this taken care of. So, any other things to wrap things up here, Ron?
No, again, just it was an interesting week of football because not many games meant anything. Well, Saturday both games meant something. All the stars made, but Sunday I was like watching preseason type games. Bill, I'd look out, I didn't know who was playing quarterback. Some teams are playing the third string quarterback. So Sunday was a lot like preseason, but Sunday night was a classic. Again, maybe
it was.
I mean, not a classic that every single play was played well, but just the back and forth and whatever the drama. So yeah, so. Hopefully we have some drama. Maybe after CES with that 360 drone coming out, Avata 360 drone coming out from DJI. I think it's closed. I think it'll be the end of the month. I can't guarantee it's going to be next week, but I think it'll be here before the end.
I think it's gonna. People will be really impressed with that with the Avata 360. I'm intrigued enough that if I have an opportunity, I'll probably get one.
I'm just going to get the base kit because I only need one battery for that. You know why, Bill? If that thing flies for 20 minutes, something like that, if I got 20 minutes of 360 footage, that's all the 360 footage. If I had three batteries worth of 360 footage, I'd never get it edited.
Yeah. As far as that's concerned, you're right. You're right on that score. So I want to echo everything that Ron said here. Thank you guys again for tuning in to the first show of a nice year. And Drone Nation's going nowhere. Rotor Talk's going nowhere. Other shows are going nowhere. We're all going to be here for you guys, okay? Because you guys are incredible. Thank you for your support for all of our channels. We all really, each and every one of us, appreciate it. As always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week. And go Steelers.
Good night. Steeler Nation.